Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to get right into the November love reading for the sign of Libra. Alright Libra, Gemini is already up, your sister sign. So today we're going to get right into Libra and see what your month is looking like in the area of love relationships. Now this message could be for any scenario. It could be for a single Libra, or Libra who's involved, Libra coming into a great relationship, or perhaps dealing with a toxic relationship. Whatever the case may be, if it doesn't apply to you or doesn't resonate with you, then this reading isn't for you, okay? However, I would hope that if you've been drawn to this video today and to my channel, there's something that perhaps you can get out of this reading. And so even if it doesn't completely resonate with you, I do hope that you find clarity in your relationships today. All right, Libra. Of course, to those of you who are my regulars, thank you so much for stopping by. And of course, I am premiering all my videos now so that I can be there to chat with you guys and to say hello. It feels so much more like personal, and I get to know my regulars, and I really, really love that. So hopefully you are now watching this premiere of the video as well. Straight out, we have the World. Beautiful, beautiful energy. And Seven of Wands. Well, it's you against the world, as it were, but the World card comes in as very strong destiny energy, path energy, fate energy, all right? So we have 10 of Wands, a letting go is happening, and a 7 of Swords, okay? We have an 8 of Cups and a 6 of Wands. All right. Okay. You come into the month with a 7 of Cups, and you have an Ace of Wands that meets you. 2 of Cups are your hopes and dreams, and you have a 2 of Pentacles is the outcome. Lots of change and flux, right, this month. Very, very, very nice, but very, very Libran energy, right? Libra, 2s. All right, let's check out the bottom of the deck, and there you are showing up with the Justice card. This is your card, Libra. You are showing up in your own reading, and this is exactly what I was feeling when I see the 2s that show up. We will, of course, clarify the reading later on with some Thoth cards, but right now, this is quite interesting indeed. Again, another really positive reading. I can feel it. And I have already taken a quick scan of the cards, and I already have a sense of what you're going through. But let's get right into your subject card and your cross energy. You are the World right now. The World is coming into you this month. World energy comes in when we feel very fated and destined. We feel like we are on our destiny, right? Our path of destiny. Things happen as if they're meant to happen. Things happen right now as if they're divinely led. All of the forces of nature are attuned to your progress and to your sort of path. This is a feeling of being exactly at the right place at the right time, coming into your own. However, you are covered with a 7 of Wands. I'm going to say there is a feeling this month of you really having to come up with a lot of creative solutions to obstacles that may be in your way. You're feeling very kind of like you're having to stand your ground. Now, if we associate this with a love reading, this could indicate that with a particular love connection, you may be feeling like you have got to sort of defend it, right? You may be feeling like you have to defend your connection to the world, to others around you. You could be having a connection with someone that is from another culture, right? That is from a different background. Yet it's a strong connection, and it does feel very much like you two against the world. We're going to come back to the center energy. In your conscious and unconscious position, you have 10 of Wands and 7 of Swords. 10 of Wands is you feel like you're laying down a burden, right? So in your love life, I'm going to say this month, Libra, it feels as though there's a change that's happened. Some kind of focus has changed, some kind of relief of a burden or responsibility has come in, and you've kind of really been free to let go, right? To kind of lay down these burdens, lay down this kind of feeling of, this is baggage, right? It's burdens, but they're psychic burdens. This is emotional baggage, psychic baggage that we accumulate over stages in our lives, right? And so you feel like this, like you're ready to lay it down, right? I'm going to say you have a 7 of swords in your unconscious, and that's really a feeling of hastiness, right? Hastiness, it's a feeling of futility. This is the card for futility. And it feels like for a long time you may have been feeling deep down inside like nothing is working. It hasn't worked. Everything that you've tried in a particular scenario hasn't worked. Hasn't sort of... it hasn't paid off. Right? 7 of Swords is also sort of the hare and the thief, right? The hare story and the thief story. This is the hare. This is the person who really cuts corners a lot of time. They don't really make the right effort. Whether they realize it or not, they may be feeling like they're making a lot of an effort, but it's really not, it's not working. And it's not working oftentimes because they're cutting corners, right? Now, I'm not saying that that's what you're doing, Libra, but I am saying that I think you are certainly feeling a sense of futility in a particular scenario. I'm going to say I feel like this is a situation of a Libran who may be coming out of a relationship that has not been very happy, that has felt like a burden, or coming out of a period where maybe you recently already, or you've already broken out of that relationship, but you're still kind of in that residual space, and this is kind of the energy you're coming into the month with. And although you're laying down a lot of the baggage that you've accumulated as a result of this kind of unhappy connection that you had, also in the back of your mind, you also feel very much like, you know, I tried everything I could. You know, I think that you feel very sort of exasperated with it all. There could be indeed a feeling that somebody was not meeting you halfway, right? And you're kind of done with that also. You know, I do feel very much like this is not your energy, and this is also the person you were dealing with. It could be that they were very sort of, you know, half-hearted in their actions, right? And it could also be that just the way they treated you, they just kind of, you know, this is also the Dream Thief card, 7 of Swords. This is somebody who wants something so badly, but they don't really want to work for it. They want to take it from you. And I can feel that for some of you Librans, it may indeed be that this connection was also somebody who really took a lot of your passion away, right? This is why I feel like you're showing up in your reading, because justice comes in, but this is justice coming in as a rebalance, as your energy coming back in. I think after a period of somebody who was really taking a lot of your energy, what do you come into... what kind of, this is kind of what you're going to be dealing with in November in terms of what you're focusing on, what you're thinking about. Because like I say, I think Libra, for a lot of you, this is kind of the after period of a breakup. You know, normally some people would rebound in this period, but I think you're taking this period a little bit slowly, and you are very much like putting yourself at the center, right? Because the world shows up, and again, this is another energy here. The world shows up when you're also really putting yourself at the center of your focus, right? And so I think this is a really great sign of healing, all right? I think a lot of you are going to be healing. 8 of Cups comes in also, and this is the energy that you first start the month off with, and it's a sense of establishing boundaries. You begin to establish boundaries, and you understand the need for establishing boundaries, and you seek to have a higher sort of level of connection with people. And I think, again, this is a real healing period for you, because you realize that with somebody, they really crossed a lot of boundaries, right? And they did things the way they wanted to do them. And you were just really putting everything into it and really not getting the same effort back. And I think with 8 of Cups as well, Libra, some of you have woken up to the fact that, you know, you were perhaps pouring a lot of love into cups that weren't capable of pouring the same quality or level of love back to you. It's just kind of just wasting it on people. And so the lesson here with 8 of Cups, because the number 8 is associated with borders, boundaries, and finding your strength. finding the strength to move on, finding the strength to say no, finding the strength to enforce your boundaries and make sure that people don't cross them. This is all about strength, as well as learning to give in and knowing when too much is too much. That's why the 8 in the major arcana is associated with the card strength and that Leo energy. But here we have 8 of cups, and so finding your strength in relationships is what this is all about. And so although I say this starts off as a real healing period, and you will be thinking a lot about, excuse me, what you have most recently been through, whether it's that relationship or just that time in your life, it is a good healing period. You come into a position of power and sort of control in your relationships here and strength, and you really very much round out the month with a sense of victory, right? This ascent that you take leads you to a sense of victory, because I think affirmations are going to come back that you've made the right decision. Things begin to happen in your life. Excuse any background noise if you hear the traffic outside. Things begin to come into your life, or things come to fruition in your life that prove that when you put yourself at the center, right, good things happen, rewards come in, victories come in, and certainly when you've done the hard work of healing, not necessarily rebounding right away into the same toxic sort of scenario, but really healing and learning. 8 of Cups is a learning card. You know, when it comes in, you've learned something and you're putting it into practice. You're not just paying lip service and, oh yeah, you know, I did my healing and I'm good to go. And then you just jump into the same, like, you know, toxic behavior patterns. No, 8 of Cups talks about really implementing decisions and actions that show that you've learned something. And it's a very nice reading in that way, and certainly your rewards and your victory come in. Again, though, it is a difficult month for you, for some of you, because 7 of Wands is crossing you, and it does feel like you're really having to work for this stability that you're gaining, this harmony that you're seeking. It is work. You have a 6 of Wands, but you have a 7 of Wands energy. So it's like that 7 of Wands is what we normally, a 6 of Wands is a victory, and then a 7 of Wands comes after it because you're trying to maintain your position that you gained during that victory. But here with 7 of Wands, you're already there. You're already trying to maintain a particular position. And I think this is a testament to sort of the will, Libra, that you're really putting into changing the types of relationships you want to have and putting yourself at the center. You're just not taking any bullshit from anybody. You come into the month with another 7, right? And another 7 talks about really wishing and hoping and daydreaming for a beautiful love connection. However, with 7 of Cups, sometimes we are a little bit I want to say extravagant or not so grounded. We may be thinking or daydreaming about a scenario that isn't really realistic, right? That isn't actually, and further, that will not necessarily bring us true happiness, right? They're unrealistic expectations, and they're things that we dream of that oftentimes don't bring what we truly desire. And so with 7 of Cups, it's kind of an admonishment to take care of what you wish for, and really get into yourself and truly find out what it is you really need and want from a relationship realistically, right? And what you can give to a relationship realistically. And if you're trying to ascend higher, what work do you need to put in to ascend higher, rather than just daydreaming on like the perfect sort of scenario, or just, you know, wishing for something without the effort, right? And so just take care of that. Ace of Wands comes in, though, which is a really beautiful new beginning, right? So the possibility of a new beginning comes in because, and I'm going to say this is probably because the 6 of Wands here is kind of a public victory. For some of you who may not have been going out most recently, you may have not been socializing as much. As a result of this healing that you're going through, you're kind of coming out of your skin a little bit. You're socializing more. And I think out of this 6 of Wands comes this Ace of Wands, which is an opportunity for a new, strong, pleasurable connection. Ace of Wands can talk about all kinds of new beginnings that we are passionate about. And so sometimes it can also indicate relationships or really strong magnetism between two people, because the Ace of Wands is also the great phallic symbol in the deck. So sometimes Ace of Wands can come in when you have a really strong sexual connection with somebody, or you found somebody that you're really attracted to, right? And so this can come into your month as well. And your hope is for a love connection. Your hope is for a Two of Cups, a balanced love connection with somebody. Finding your partner, right? Finding your Bonnie to your Clyde, or your Clyde to your Bonnie. This is really what your hopes and dreams are, but also your fears. It's interesting that that position in the Celtic spread, not only does it represent your hopes and dreams, but it also represents your fears. And that's the duality of that position. And so although you hope for a good relationship, oftentimes entering into a relationship is a source of fear for you, or a source of anxiety, right, Libra? And you do feel a little bit out of balance in the beginning stages, or it can feel like, you know, a bit of both sides, right? Happiness to have a connection, but the fear that is something going to go wrong, you know, the anxiety that is associated with it. And just a general anxiety of being that deeply connected to somebody. I think we all feel a little bit of that anxiety. You come out at the end of the month with change, and I do think that as a result of this Ace of Wands coming in, your desires come true with that Two of Cups, very Libran energy, but at the same time, again, there's a lot of change associated with it. Also very Libran energy, right? Because Libras are really are not about being in balance all the time, but it's the constant weighing out, the constant back and forth. And so here, excuse me, Libra, you find a balance in one area, and it right away kicks off a little bit of an imbalance in another area, just in the sense of you're juggling a lot to make this happen. I think this Two of Cups brings about a lot of change environmentally. You may be moving to get closer to this connection. You may, you know, jobs may be involved, changing, you know, your financial. This is all to do with the logistics, the money, the career, the environment that is changing and in flux, probably as a result of this connection that you most recently had. You may be moving very quickly with this connection. And again, that could be a source of fear for you, which is why it is in that position also, right? Nevertheless, you do come in. Justice comes in Libra. Energy comes in, and that just indicates, Libra, that you are going to be able to find your balance this November with a love connection, right? Now, there's no indication of where this love connection is going to come from. There's no indication that it is a, you know, that it's somebody you already know or don't know. And there's no, I don't have a feeling that this is any kind of reconciliation, right? It could be a reconciliatory connection, right? But if it is, it would mean that this other person made a lot of changes, and that you made a lot of changes to the dynamic here, and you've come back together in balance. It could be that way. So this doesn't necessarily have to be a brand new lover, but if it is an old lover, it's after a period of time where you have healed, and also a period of time where you've been able to establish the change of this dynamic, because before you connect with them, you get your victory, right? And that victory comes in because you've established your boundaries here. So what I'm saying is that if this is a reconciliation or an old lover, it's a reconciliation or an old lover after a period of time where you've really made it clear that you want a different dynamic and you're not going to put up with anything less. This is not like this would not be an instant reconciliation just because they came back and said, "Oh, I'm sorry." And you know, if you haven't had the time to put this Eight of Cups into practice and to have your victory moment, then I would say this is a new connection, right? I hope you follow me with that. If indeed you have had the time, okay, this is a way of interpreting this reading for two scenarios, Libra. If indeed you have had the time with an old lover, which has allowed you to sort of lay down some guilt and burdens associated with them, right? And perhaps you were resonating with some feeling of futility, but you realized maybe you didn't try as hard as you should. They didn't try as hard as they should. And so here we have a glimmer of hope for reconciliation. And you've had the time to put in these boundaries and this change to the dynamic with this person over a period of time, right? Not just a couple of days, say, look, this is what I want. And they say, yeah. I mean, there's proof that they've accepted this position, accepted these boundaries, giving you your space, giving you your respect, and you've had your victory. Then this could indeed be a really good reconciliation, right? Because I want to clear this up, because for some of you, you're going to go back to a toxic situation thinking that what I mean is that this is, and it's not that, right? It's not that. It's not, this Two of Cups is a healthy coming together, a balanced coming together, right? It causes change and flux, but it's healthy and balanced. And so it just cannot be for a reconciliation that hasn't proven to be healthy and balanced, if you know what I mean, okay? So if you're feeling like, well, yeah, but my man is still married, then this can't happen. And then this is not for you. Or if you say, well, my lady friend who I'm with, or my partner who I'm with, I told them the other week that I wanted some space, and I gave them this ultimatum. They said, cool, and now we're back together. I doubt it, because the time has not been put in for you to know that they really accept it. When I talk about them accepting it, when I talk about you really making sure that they understand this Eight of Cups dynamic shift that you're making, I'm talking about you've probably then also had encounters where they've tested you and they've learned, right? They've tested this resolve that you have, and you've stood your ground. And here's Seven of Wands, standing your ground. And you've stood your ground, and they've left. And whatever they tried didn't work because you've enforced your boundaries. This is what I'm talking about proof, and how this kind of proof coming in takes time. So this would be a period of perhaps months, or even perhaps weeks, but certainly weeks, months, or maybe even a year before the time has been put in for this person to understand that you're done with the ways that you were interacting with them before. And certainly enough time for this Six of Wands to come in. So let's get some clarity cards. I spent a little bit longer with that to explain that, because sometimes I get comments from people and I can tell that they're not able to see that this reading is not necessarily resonating with their situation, and I want to explain why. All right, we're just going to pull out 4 cards to clarify these 4 positions. High Priestess, Seven of Cups. There's your Seven of Cups again. Eight of Cups on Eight of Cups, okay? And Five of Wands on Six of Wands. And at the bottom we have the Knight of Discs, which in the Thoth deck, yes, is the Knight of Discs. Excuse me, Thoth deck, Knight of Discs is the King. All right, so this would be the same as the King of Discs in a traditional deck, right? All right, let's get right into this. This is so interesting. High Priestess comes out to clarify this Ten of Wands. Your intuitive abilities are really heightened, and your self-confidence is increased, right? And this is what has allowed you to lay down these Ten of Wands, to say goodbye to the burden of this relationship, or to say goodbye to whatever baggage was left over from the ending of the previous relationship that was unhealthy. High Priestess comes in and she really invigorates you with self-confidence and intuitive abilities. You know what to do. You know what you want. This is why your Seven of Wands resolve is so strong, and you're so strongly put back on your life path. In the back of your mind, you have another 7. So now this is 1, 2, 3. This 4 sevens showing up in your reading. So this is very much about you following your path towards your wish fulfillment. And like I say, Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups is the same as this one, right? It's the same card. It's that feeling of coming in that, you were having a picture-perfect idea about something that just wasn't that way, right? You weren't being realistic about the relationship, perhaps. And I think this is something that you woke up to, right? I think you realized that one of the reasons you were in this kind of dynamic, or perhaps one of the healing, right? One of the aspects of the healing to this scenario is understanding that you had unrealistic expectations. Seven of Cups, right? And you were not really, communicating freely and openly and honestly your true feelings, right? And so, a feeling of stagnation comes in, a feeling of pretending that everything is great when it's not, when beneath the surface it's really not. And so I think you realized that. I think that was one of the lessons. I think you probably, Seven of Swords is the card for futility, and this is the feeling of futility. Because, you know, it's like, yeah, you tried everything, it didn't work because you weren't really sort of addressing the true problem, right? You were sort of, you know, addressing the problem you thought you had or the problem you pretended to have. But with Seven of Cups, we talk about, like, just, you know, pretending you have a fairy tale relationship when you don't. You know, and then when problems arise, you attack them in a very different way, and it just doesn't work. It's a very futile effort. And I think this is just part of the understanding that's come in for you, because Seven of Cups has come out twice now. This is your confirmation. So you really have learned to be more practical, and I think over here you're kind of coming into the month with this understanding as well. Eight of Cups comes out over Eight of Cups, and this is why I spent some time on this card, because this is a learning card, but it's also a card where you really are putting your learning into practice. And so it's very important, yes, that this Two of Cups is coming after a period of time where you have really enforced your boundaries and learned and made a commitment to not pouring your heart into cups that have nothing in return. Here you can see the imagery. The lotus blossoms are just pouring love, love, love into these broken handle cups. Right? These cups are chipped. You can see some of the cups are chipped. They're just crappy cups, you know. They're not quality and they have nothing to give back, and yet the lotus flower just keeps pouring, 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 right? And so this symbolizes the need to rise above. This is also Saturn and Pisces energy. Right? And it's the need to rise above and have a deeper connection, a more quality connection, to put in borders and boundaries and a sense of standards so that you don't interact with just any old cheap cup, but you interact with a cup that is the same sort of quality that you have, a cup that can give something back. This is all about putting in, having the strength to enforce your boundaries with people who are not who do not resonate with the type of energy that you really want. They're just not up to your standard, right? And this is not a value judgment, but whatever your standard is, whatever your, I'm going to say, you know, criteria are, right? We all have criteria, you know, like you would say that the basic criteria is not to hook up with somebody who's cruel, right? That's a criteria. So this idea that we don't have a set of criteria or a standard that we should require from people is kind of, you know, a misnomer. We already have a certain standard that we unconsciously sort of follow, right? It's a value, like a moral standard, right? You don't get hooked up with somebody you know is a murderer, or somebody you know is a amoral person, right? But there's other little things in relationships and boundaries that you can also enforce so that you're not caught up pouring your love into these cups that are really not of the same metal and quality that is up to receiving your love. And then you end this month, Six of Wands is interesting, covered by Five of Wands. So it's a desire, it's a victory over strife. It's a victory over arguing, right? And I'm going to say for some of you that may have been what was at play, right? You may have been dealing with somebody who really argued with you a lot and made you feel sort of like you weren't up to scratch, like you were the one who was weak and they're the stronger one, right? And so the sense of victory, I feel like, is very much over that sort of idea. And this is, again, why I say that if this is a reconciliation, it will be after a period of time of you really enforcing your boundaries. All right, Libra, I'm going to call it. This is your reading for November, your love reading. I hope it resonated with you. Please like, subscribe, and share. All of that good stuff helps me grow my channel. This was a pretty good reading for you guys in terms of moving on, healing, and really coming into a great love connection this month. Or for some of you, maybe reconciling, but certainly not reconciling until somebody has really put a lot of work in, and certainly until you've put a lot of effort in standing your ground, enforcing your boundaries, and making sure that you have proof that this in connection, whoever this is with, whether it's with somebody new or old, that they have what it takes to be involved with you, to be close to you, that they deserve to be close with you. And don't forget, the end of the month, you are still going to be going through a lot of change, but that will be as a result of this new connection. And of course, December promises to bring abundance for everybody. All right, guys, I love you so much. Thank you for stopping by. If you came to the premiere, thank you for stopping by. If you want a private reading, go ahead and follow the link above in the screen or in the description. But for right now, I'm going to say, Libra, have a wonderful November. Bye-bye now.